Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am a little bit apprehensive because this week is a big week. I think the last time I saw you was when I actually had just competed in my first ever novice freestyle test. Quite a bit has happened since then. I ended up competing in my second ever novice freestyle test, which I didn't end up YouTubing in the end. And we came back with a respectable third place. We didn't go wrong and we got 66.1%, which got us our final qualifying score for the summer area Petplan festivals. Bit of a mouthful, isn't it? So really excited about that. Funnily enough, I thought I ended up doing worse than what I ended up actually doing, and I was really disheartened. There were a few mistakes. We did unfortunately break in our medium trot up to canter, and Vossi did a flying change, which was not ideal. But look, it was our second ever novice freestyle. We are so new, like novice level dressage is so fresh. We've been doing it for about 2 months, if that. So yeah, I was a bit disheartened, but then I realized when I looked at the results on the BD website that all first, second, third, I came third, we were all in the 66% bracket. So I think first place got 66.9, second place got 66.5, and then I got 66.1. So I was so hard on myself after that. I burst out into tears thinking I'd done really badly and I was so disappointed in myself. But I ended up doing a lot better than I thought. So that's a positive. Anyway, I told you something. It's a very big week this week. Let's get into that. So I cannot believe how quick it's come around. This week is the NAF 5-star Winter British Dressage Championships and the Area Festival Petplan Championships, which obviously I'm competing in. Both are taking place at Addington Equestrian Centre, which I am so excited / very scared about. I definitely feel a bit out of my depth, even though I have trained hard. I have done everything I possibly can. I've been training with 2 trainers. I've been training with my usual trainer that I train with every week, and also with a British Dressage List 1 judge as well, to really hammer in where I can get those extra marks. Times came out this week, so I am competing on Saturday afternoon. I also managed to check the times for all the other classes and how big the other classes are. My class just so happens to be the biggest class of the entire week, literally by quite some way as well. There's 49 people in my class. The class starts at 8 o'clock and finishes at 6 p.m, just to give you a rough idea of how busy it is. The competition is going to be fierce. Yes, I'm only competing against the Bronze League riders, but I'm competing against the best all around the UK of the Bronze League riders. These riders are scoring 69% minimum and maximum your high 70s. I feel out of my depth because I'm usually scoring within like 65 to 67%, and for some bizarre reason I scored my highest ever score, which was at my area festival at Forest Edge, where I qualified for the finals, and that was my highest ever score of 69%, which is bizarre because on average you score 4 to 5% lower than your average mark. So technically I should have been scoring around like the 60% mark, but I didn't. I blew it out the bag and got my highest ever mark. So of course I'm thinking to myself, 69% isn't even enough. So yeah, there's just last week I had a little bit of a minor breakdown because I think it was all just getting a bit too much for me. I had no plan for this week. I think that was stressing me out a lot. I was like, oh my God, a week before, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, you know, how am I supposed to be training? What should my schedule look like? Today, actually, I'm going to be at home with Voss. I'm going to take him out for a hack, and then I'm going to go back home into my grass arena, and I'm going to be doing a few trot to canter transitions and working on them, because that's something I really want to try and nail, like the fluid, nice upward transitions where he doesn't lift his head up, he just smoothly rolls into it. And that comes from making sure that I've got forward enough trot before the upwards transition. And then just having a feel of how he feels today. Without further ado, I've been rambling. Let's head to the stables and I'll bring you guys along for one of our nice hacks. So just got to the yard. First thing I'm doing is mucking Vossi out. And I thought I'd tell you a little bit about my plan this week. So obviously I spoke with my trainer and said, look, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do with Vossi this week in the lead up to the event. Like, I don't want to overwork him to the point that he's going to be too tired and a bit lazy on the day of the competition. But I also want to have enough confidence in myself that the way I've been riding this week fills me with confidence that I can do it on the day of the show. So we put together a little plan. So today I'm going out for a hack with him, as I said. Then I'm going to bring him back to my grass arena and do some transition work with him. I have actually got a lesson with my trainer tomorrow, and we're going to basically run through the prelim 19 tomorrow, ride it as accurately as possible, just pick up on some like little niggly tweaks on how to make it a little bit better. Wednesday I'll give him a day off. Then Thursday I've got another lesson with my trainer, and that lesson is literally going to be hammering in hard on the final tweaks to my rider position and how I'm riding with Vossi. I'm aware that he sometimes looks a bit tense in his neck, so ideally I want to try and do a lot of suppling exercises with him, a bit of leg yielding, try and supple him through his body, just so he's a little bit looser and a little bit freer in his body, but also just, you know, hammering home with how I need to be sitting in the saddle, where my legs need to be, you know, how my hands need to be. I know sometimes my hands are a bit harsh, so I need to make sure that, you know, I'm constantly giving with my hands, my fingers, and making sure that together we are looking and feeling top notch. Because at these championships, I know it's my first one, but I can only imagine there's only room for the best of the best. And with all the money that you spend on this, you know, you've got to give it your everything. So I'm trying to make sure in the lead up that I am giving it my absolute everything. So anyway, I'm just mucking out Vossi's stable, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring him in after, and then I'm going to tack him up, and then we can go for a hack. So mucked out, just going to get Mr. Vossi in. Yesterday, would you believe it, I spent 4 hours mowing my arena and strimming it so that the ground is nicer and looks aesthetically pleasing, of course. So I'm going to go get Voss in now, and then I'm going to tack him up, and then we can head out on our hack. So just got Mr. Vossi in, just taking his rug off. We've got a little bit of a situation. Half of the mane is missing. Not ideal. Literally this time of year, I think personally, he looks his worst. The summer coat's coming through. I don't want to clip him because I don't want to ruin the summer coat. He's molting. And the mane is rubbed out from the rug. So plaiting this is just, it's not going to look good. So Mum and I were talking about what we can do. We were thinking of taking a little bit out of Aussie's mane, a little bit out of Aussie's tail, because Aussie's tail's not as thick as Aussie's, that needs washing. Rolling it into a ball, like a rosette, and then like maybe like threading it in, because look, we aren't getting much from that, and it's just going to look really rubbish, and he needs to look the best. Well, that is Vossi all tacked up, looking rather grumpy. Mr. Vossi, why are you looking so grumpy, please? We haven't been for a hack I can't remember the last time I went out for a hack, actually, because the weather's been so bad, so all the tracks have been so muddy and gross. Are you please forward now, Vossi? Off we go. Come on, Mr. Vossi. What a lovely day. It's about 18 degrees. Bit cloudy, but it actually, to me, officially feels like the first day of summer here in the UK. What a nice feeling. Hey, Voss. Hey, Voss. Good boy. So, had a really enjoyable hack with Vossi, actually. The weather was really nice. He was a good boy. A little bit spooky, but I haven't taken him out for, as I said, I think about a week now, because the weather has just been horrific. Anyway, got home, popped him in our grass arena and did a little bit of walk work. I just wanted to start by doing the first part of the test, really, which is the medium walk, half a 20-metre circle, and then straight into our free walk. And because he was already warmed up from the hack, I thought, why not just do that straight away? So did our medium walk, and then I did actually let go of my reins a bit too late there. I should have let go of them just before S. So focusing on trying to get Vossi to stick his nose out, because he tends to, when I give him the reins, yes, he drops his head, but he doesn't stick his nose out. He tends to tuck it under him, which is not good. We're always told in judges' comments his nose could be a bit more forward, so that's what I was trying to do there, and I think I did it okay. So up to some trot work now, just keeping him on, well, I don't want to say a 20-metre circle at A, because technically I wasn't thinking about what I was riding, I was thinking about how I was riding. So sometimes I was doing a 20-metre circle, other times I was riding him in the corners, so I'm not going to say, but here, as you can see, I was riding him into the corner there, just focusing really on, there was our first upwards transition to canter, which was really nice and smooth and fluid, and really all I'm thinking about here is making sure that I don't tilt forward in the upwards transitions, and I think I sat back well, trying to keep Vossi in a nice forward rhythm there in the canter, and then I changed rein, popped him back into a walk, moved him up the school a bit more, closer to E. We have our spooky banner here, and he does like to have a little look at that. So just doing a bit of walk and up to trot in a moment, I think. There we go. And in the trot, just making sure that he's not tucking his head under, he's not going behind the vertical. There you go, his head's a little bit tucked under there, so I'm just trying to push him on a little bit and just trying to use my hands just to get him to lift his head up a bit and work in a better frame, essentially. Just gave him a bit of a pat there because he was a good boy. Nice trot there, really nice rhythm, and I was just sitting deep for my downwards transition. Even though it's a downwards transition, make it a forward downwards transition. So now I'm doing lots of walk to trot transitions. These are really good for Vossi when I feel like he's being a little bit lazy and he's not responding off my leg. So I do a couple of strides of trot, back down to walk, back up to trot, back down to walk, back up to trot, just to get him listening off my leg and get him listening to my aids. As you can see, he just tucked under a bit, so I just lifted my hands up a bit and pushed on with my leg to try and get him to lift his head up a bit, because again, we don't want him tucking that head, which he's slightly starting to do there again. Something I really do struggle with him is on a circle, he tends to tuck his head under a bit more, which I'm a little bit concerned about. So that's what I was trying to do here. Just lots of circle work, trying to get him to lift his head up. Nice upwards transition there to the canter. I was happy with that. So I'm keeping my outside hand low and I'm keeping my inside hand up and keeping a really firm sort of outer rein and being a bit more supple with my inside rein. Now, I get comments a lot that my hands are quite harsh, and to be honest with you, when you're riding Vossi, who's not the strongest horse, I feel like I do have to hold him quite a bit until he gets a much stronger boy. I mean, he's a lot more stronger than he was to start with, and I know that I have harsh hands and I really do need to sort of work on that, which I am. I'm trying to be, constantly keep moving my fingers and supple my fingers, but also try and keep my hands still at the same time. So just changing my rein again with him. And to be honest with you, he feels super. There were some moments where I was a bit like, oh, this feels rubbish. But this trot's really nice. He's sort of opening up his stride there, which is lovely. That was a nice downwards transition. And again, when we do these downwards transitions, I want to make sure the walk is a nice medium walk. It's not a sloppy, slow walk. So that was nice. So back up again into trot we go. I think I'm going to be pushing him into an upwards transition again, up to canter. So I'm just trying to get the right trot, and also just, again, thinking about his head, trying to supple him a bit around the bend, using my inside leg to my outside rein, and just trying to keep that rhythm nice, keep him forward into the contact, because that's another thing a lot of judges comment on, just making sure that the horse is really into your contact and off your leg. Sounds easy, but it's really, really tricky. So just trying to keep that trot consistent, and that was a really nice upwards transition. I was just gradually getting the trot a little bit more forward before asking for that transition, and he really struggles on this rein. So I had to keep bringing him down and just also moving him slightly away from the banner just to not work him up more and more, because he did get quicker in that canter, which I didn't like. So again, trying again, another upwards transition to canter, and just trying to keep him, you know, relaxed and not rushing forward into it, which he tends to do on the right rein because it is his weaker rein. As you know, all horses do have a weaker rein, and this is Vossi's weaker rein. He definitely struggles more on that. So again, just bringing him on a downwards transition, just trying to play it with my reins, doing a bit of inside and outside flexion with his head as well to help with the bending. Some more trot work and walk work again. The session actually ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be, but I just felt in the moment that Vossi needed the work that I was giving him, and I didn't want to just end the session not feeling like we'd fulfilled what I wanted. So we kept going, lots of trot work basically, lots of upwards transitions to canter, and he worked hard. He really did. Towards the end, we definitely felt a bit more connected, much more in sync together. Just needed to keep my leg on a bit there. As you saw, he just lifted his head up, so I just need to get that fine balance between a forward enough canter but not him rushing off with me. So at this point, Mum bless her, had enough of filming, so she sat down and is now filming from a different angle. So just working off my left rein now, doing some more canter work on the left rein. And as you guys will notice, I changed my reins a lot. Whatever I do on one rein, I do on the other. Again, another downwards transition, just bringing him back down to a medium walk, making sure that when he does do that downwards transition, he's not going into a sloppy walk. He's maintaining that rhythm. He's maintaining that, you know, forwardness in whatever pace he's doing. So just again doing some loops, some serpentines with him, just to get him moving off my leg, and you know, bending him as much as I possibly can just to help supple him through his body, which he's done really nicely here. Got a nice walk at the minute, and then an upwards transition to trot. And yeah, I'm just focusing on keeping my shoulders back, and again, a really nice smooth upwards transition. There was no sort of moving of his head. Sometimes in our upwards transition, he'll either like flick his head up or it just won't be very smooth. But I think the transitions we did today were actually very good. I was very impressed with them. Again, compared to the beginning canter where he was trying to rush off and be forward with me, the canter now is way more in sync. He's really, focusing on what I'm asking of him. And that was a canter to walk transition, which he did quite nicely. And then I'm just bringing him across the school here, preparing for a halt. Also really important to keep practicing our halts because obviously very crucial mark to not want to get wrong. So did that. And then again, back to some more trot work, just practicing our 15-metre circles, making sure that they're a nice shape, making sure he's not tucking his head under and going behind the vertical. Not perfect, but better than where we were 6 months ago. Let's just say that. And then this part of the test is between B and R, you have to have a downwards transition to walk, and then coming down from C to A to do another halt transition, making sure that he's halting square, which he did quite nicely there. And then another canter, just a bit more canter work. I really wanted to focus on this rein because this is his weaker rein. So we definitely did some really good canter work. We definitely finished the session on some really good canter work, which I was happy with on his right rein. It definitely didn't start that way. It was a bit sticky to start with, and it's really important I take note of that because I'm going to have to make sure I do give him a good warm in and get these little niggly bits sorted in the warm up, because we don't want to be making those mistakes in our final prelim test at the finals. So just a bit more canter work, a bit more practice, then taking him off the circle and going around the arena because I feel comfortable that he's listening to me now, and then a downwards transition to walk, which was super. So he had a well-deserved pat there. Wow, the actual state of me. I'm actually surprised watching that footage back how much better Voss and I looked compared to how it felt. It felt pretty rubbish, I'm not going to lie. I just struggle getting him off my legs. So I have to do so many transitions, lots of walk to trot, trot to walk, walk to trot, trot to canter, canter to trot, trot to canter, like lots of transitions. So I'm definitely going to bear that in mind when I'm in the warm up before I compete. But it's getting the right balance of not working him too much that he's then really sleepy and lazy when I compete, but enough to get him off my leg. So yeah, watching that footage back, I'm actually really impressed with him. I am now going to give Vossi a bath because he is sweaty AF and Mum is currently holding him for me whilst I film this. So yeah, that is one clean Vossi. Didn't film it because I was trying to rush before it starts raining. And also, it's not ideal bathing Vossi here because our water pressure is so minimal. It takes me twice as long to bath because the water comes out so slowly. But here we have a freshly clean Vossi. He was actually filthy. I was surprised how much dirt came off his body. So there we go. Before the show, I will clean his legs and tail once more so they're extra white and sparkly. But now I'm going to go give him a hand graze whilst he dries off. You good boy. Are you enjoying your munchies, Vossi? Are you enjoying your munchies? Hopefully he'll dry off quicker because there's a little bit of wind. So hopefully he'll enjoy some grass and dry off at the same time. Well guys, that is over and out. That is one training session and down, another 2 to go before our finals. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. And the next time I see you will be at Addington for the Winter Area Festival Championships. Take care. See you at Addington.